we as photographers, we are the one who are romanticizing the word decisive moment. Decisive moment is not what the viewer looks at it, is what the photographer makes them see it. In fact, now the controversial part, it is what the photographer chooses to hide.
So, welcome back, everybody, to a new episode of Eyeshot 50mm. And today we're sitting down with the great master of street photography, Vineet Vohra. Vineet, thank you for being with us today. I'm very happy to talk to you. It's been quite a long time. And I just want to give a little introduction about yourself to the community. Vineet Vohra is one of the, as I said, most influential street photographers of our contemporary times. He can turn the chaos of Indian streets into a visual language that is both poetic but also truly meaningful of the moment he finds himself. So again, Vineet, thank you so much for being with us, and it's such a
Thank you.
pleasure
Thank
to
you.
have
I
you.
mean, it's so good to talk to you guys after almost 6 months. And we've been talking in between, but really coming face to face, it's been so interesting from having dinners together to actually seeing each other after a long time. It's wonderful. I'm excited. I can't wait for this.
Great. Before we start, I just want to leave a small message to all of our viewers to keep liking, keep subscribing, and keep commenting, because what's just one small click to you, it means the world for us. So we ask you to keep supporting independent street photography, independent publishing, and made in Italy arts and craftsmanship. Now, let's get into it straight away.
Right.
And the very first question I want to ask you, Vineet, it's one of the toughest questions we always ask our guests,
Cool.
and it is, who is Vineet Vohra according to Vineet Vohra?
I would say he's a painter who can shoot with a camera. In my heart, I'm a painter. I'm a sculptor. I just like to weave things together in one frame. It's form that I kind of create. Sometimes it's just a small story, and sometimes it's multiple stories. But at the heart of it, I would say I'm a learner. I feel very shy when people call me a master. Totally. I'm a learner of this craft who wants to be a learner always. I seek a teacher in everything I'm looking at, be it nature, be it poetry, be it paintings, be it photographs. So I would say I'm a learner, I'm a seeker, I'm a painter.
Okay. And how did you actually start photographing? Like, how did your career or like your path into photography started? Was there a specific moment that made it for you? How did it start?
So coming from arts background, fine arts was my background. I was always enjoying arts. And so if I'm going to reverse this question, I don't even remember when I didn't have a camera in my hand. Even if I was 5 years old or 6 years old, I was blessed that I could use my father's cameras and I could take pictures. But coming to how I made it a profession, I feel my paintings were taking a lot of time and I was trying to create something very fluid. Paintings, I felt that, they were trying to freeze something. I wanted to freeze the moment, but at the same time, it had to be fluid. It had to be temporary. So picked up the camera and a lot of people don't know that I started with wildlife and I did wildlife photography for a year. Enjoyed it, but that real wildlife of street wasn't there. So I picked up street after that.
Instead. And do you remember your very first photograph? Was it a masterpiece or a disaster?
If I have to look back, I remember it was a college project that stays with me. And that was the first time I realized that I could experiment shooting people on streets. While fellow students were trying to get people into studios, make a shot, I felt that I wanted something more to it. I wanted natural light. I wanted natural emotion. I feel how much ever you tell somebody to pose in a certain way, but when they are candid, they're candid. So I started with that. There was one picture of this lady scolding her little kid on the street that caught my attention. And I started feeling and realizing that something that you see spontaneously, you can never imitate that shot. You can never reproduce. That's why, when people are doing cinemas, there's so many multiple takes that they have to do. And I am a very curious person by nature. So I had to take it by instant. That was the first instant I feel that got me into street photography. Or at least I felt that I could shoot people. And when I say shoot, I could take pictures of people.
Of course, absolutely. Your work spans quite a lot into the streets of India, of Delhi, of the
Mhm.
places you're visiting. And my next question would be, do you think the place where you've grown up, where you still live, has had an influence on your photographic vision? And if so, how?
This is the place I know the most because I was born here. I've spent 50 years, and who knows it better than I do? And I wanted to make the most of it. And I feel when you're in Delhi, there are so many cultures around. There's so many different kinds of art circle around that you get inspired from going to a posh showroom to somebody selling tea on the street. There's so much to see, there's so much to witness, there's so much to absorb. I was simply absorbing all these things since a kid. There used to be, when I remember when I was 4 5, there used to be vendors coming into the lanes selling stuff, and I always
Mm.
used to think that, what are they doing for their living? What is happening in their lives? What are they going to do when they go back? So that what question that kept coming into my mind made me understand that I have to kind of freeze one moment and in which I could see what's happening in their life. So that was the most important part. And when I talk about Delhi, I think it's more or less the family around, the warmth that I keep getting, I got. That was very, very inspiring because everybody, my father is an artist. My mentor, who was my father's older brother, is a noted sculptor. Art all around. I used to meet the best painters around. I was blessed. When I was a kid, I could see them talking in in our courtyard sitting. And so I could just get those conversations. And I felt that it was very magical and I was absorbing everything. And it made me what I am today. I think all those little conversations, all those little, sometimes little tips that they used to have made me understand what I want to pursue.
Okay, see, you've been growing out of a family that truly has arts in their own blood veins. So I guess that explains it. You've been photographing for quite a long time. And my next question would be, what kind of photographer were you at the beginning? And what kind of photographer do you feel like you are now?
If you're talking about voice, I feel over the period of time as a human being, when how we all evolve, it's just a evolving process for me. And if we talk about, do I still have my DNA which I used to have? Well, the DNA is not going anywhere. The DNA is still there. It's always been. What I was shooting at that time and what I'm shooting now, there's a lot of difference. But then if I'm looking at the way I used to paint 35 years ago, and if I would pick up the brush today, there's a lot of difference. It's also it's the understanding about the craft that is evolving. I would not say I'm learning. I would say I've been, all these 3 decades I've been unlearning so much. I've been, rather than adding things into my life, I've been kind of subtracting elements, and I'm trying to make it a form like a sculpture. When and I look at the piece of block of wood, I'm not looking at a rectangular block. I'm looking at how I can chisel it away and make a form out of it. So for me, it's same as what I can do with the photograph now. What I was doing earlier, maybe it was a bigger block. Now it's a little tinier, or maybe bigger. I don't know. Maybe the size of the block has become bigger.
Okay. I like this. I love this. So now I want to dive, still following up on what you said actually, into the art of street photography itself. So, like, the street photographer in general must be able to capture that decisive moment where all the elements in the scene align to find a composition, like Bresson used to say. So, my first question would be, what's your decisive moment? And a little bit more further away, do you think that the concept of the decisive moment is still something that can be applied, or is more of a romanticized way of describing, let's say, street
Beautiful. I,
photography?
I just love answering this question a lot. I because and if you would have asked me this question 10 years ago, maybe the answer was something else. And today, what I feel is, we as photographers, we are the one who are romanticizing the word decisive moment. I think decisive moment is as simple as what the photographer makes the most in the moment. Also, at the same time, we have to remember we were the only ones present there. And whatever we tend to show, the viewer is going to believe that this is what the decisive moment was. Whereas we, as photographers, some of us, which I've also gone through, we're trying to wait for, I would say, that moment being pregnant. It's the peak of the moment where the photographer wants to make that picture and wants everybody guessing that what happened before and what after. But at the same time, I have, over the period of time, realized that what I am going to show the viewer is actually the max I could capture from that moment. And that is what decisive moment for me is. Decisive moment is not what the viewer looks at it. Decisive moment is what the photographer makes them see it. It's sometimes, it's simply as, a lot of times we feel voice is something what a photographer wants to say, but it is also at the same time what the viewer reads from it. That is the voice. So similarly, street photography and decisive moment, well, they definitely go hand in hand. You can never take that thing away from street photography. But decisive is just that when you are prepared, when you are connected to that moment and what you want to show the world. Everybody is seeing that moment, but how you place yourself, it is where are you standing and when are you pressing the shutter is the decisive moment. And only you witnessed it. That's it. Maybe somebody else standing there had a different decisive moment from the same thing. Maybe he witnessed it in a certain way, because if I'm 5'5", that guy could be 6'2". If I am trying to walk faster, maybe he's slow. So how you position, it's basically
Absolutely.
what is the vantage point you take your viewer into from that scene is decisive moment for me. And it is end of the day what the photographer chooses to show. In fact, now the controversial part, it is what the photographer chooses to hide.
I love that. Thank you. So your work also feels very much in the scene, but without feeling intrusive, because especially that's a skill also in street photography. How do you stay invisible? What's your way of not alter the scene or what it's happening in front of you without being seen?
Right. I remember we had this little conversation when I was doing a workshop in Naples also, that how do we get invisible? And I was like, and people felt that, okay, it's only in India. You can't get invisible here. But when I showed them there that this is the way, and they were like totally surprised. And after that, the next day, everybody was trying to be invisible. And I'm not talking about the invisible pills that I'm selling to people that, okay, now you will be invisible. It's just that, so this is for all the audience, and especially your audience who's listening, tuning in for this, is what we as photographers at times, we just go into the scene and are greedy to just start making shots instantly without really making our presence felt to people. I would say go into the scene, just make your presence felt, like you're here and there. You're not harming them. It's their world. Firstly, all these guys are without the camera. Only you have the camera. So to just make them your presence felt, just walk into the scene, look here and there, observe the scene, pick up the camera only when you feel or sense there is a shot. Don't just start going into the scene with the camera and tut, 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 tut. It doesn't happen like that. Nobody is going to let you take a picture because you are being intrusive then. I would say, and a lot of photographers will agree to this, that there is, when you're going that close, sometimes there is a visual nod from the subject, like he's continuing doing whatever he's doing. He's seen you, but he still is continuing doing what he's doing. That means he's accepted you in their area and you could make shots. But sometimes it's just like some people are not okay with it. I would say leave that scene. There's no result, there's no end result to it. You'll probably waste their time and yours by not getting a picture of it. It's always, before you enter the scene, you should know that whether this scene can get you a shot or not. But at the same time, you will enter 99% of the scenes, there will not be a shot. But
Yeah.
if you fail, I would say that fail is a very wrong word. You will come out with 99 lessons, and that is the key point for the next scene. With every shot, with every scene that you're entering, you will know how you will kind of get into the next scene. So I don't think I can be invisible. Everybody can be invisible, provided they are learning from their previous shot. They are not
Absolutely.
repeating the mistakes what they did in the past scene.
We will discuss about the ethics of street photography a little bit later on, because that's a very hot topic as well. But before that, I want to dive a little bit into your editing, your way of approaching series, your way of post-production, your all technical aspects of your photography, just to give the audience also a little bit an overview of how you do what you do. And my very first question would be, how do you approach editing in the sense of how do you approach, for instance, sequencing or choosing images, some images compared to other? What drives you? Mood, story, color, composition? How do you do it?
So again, it's a very moody thing. Sometimes I wake up in the morning, early morning, and then I'm doing the sequence. But if I'm doing the same sequence in the evening, it's completely different because the thoughts are different. Maybe I've dreamt about something which is in my subconscious mind, and I'm looking at scenes in a different way. But my first sequence would be forms. I look at forms coming from art background. Look for tones. I look for textures. I look for a harmony, which sometimes is purely aesthetical, and sometimes it's visual, and sometimes I try to create a conflict. The two pictures absolutely they don't match, but in your mind there's so much of conflict that why are they still working together when there's nothing similar in them? So it's how certain days have different effect on you. But it's when I get into, let's say, if I'm working on few books with other photographers, when I'm working on that, then I would spend at least a week nonstop. I mean, of course, I'll have breaks in between, but nonstop just working on that book. It would not be that I'm sleeping over it for 2 months, then I go back to that sequence again, because otherwise, then it will never land into the same driveway again. Also, some photographers, there are no rights and wrongs in editing and sequencing. There are no rights and wrongs. People want it to be in a chronological order, then you have to work in that order. Some wanted, I met people who are like, oh, I have 100 black and white images, but there are 5 color images which I really want to get into that 100. It is a good breather, but it becomes very
Mm.
tricky how to work it out. So, from editing, let's say for a portfolio, 30 images, 200 images in a book, there's a different process. And if they are my images, I let them marinate for quite some time and then look at them subjectively. Otherwise, and if it's somebody else's work of art, then I tend to understand the personality also and look at it in a certain way, which will also work closely with what they are. I'm more of, for me, it should reflect something about the person, about the photographer.
Mhm.
Sequencing, there are various rules. You will never be happy with the edit. I'm never happy with the edit because it's just like painting. You have to abandon it. You'll never
Some
finish it.
point.
So I've never seen a finished paintings in my life, and I'm talking about my paintings. Similarly, I've never seen the finished edit. I keep feeling this could be here after maybe 10 days and once after the final edit is done. It's a longish process, and
Yeah,
it's a never satisfying process also.
process.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's a
Exactly. There's
process.
always something. Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
process.
a
Exactly.
process.
And what kind of post production instead do you do? Do you try to keep your photograph as raw as possible, or what kind of views do you have on post production? Let's turn it in this way.
Very quickly on this. If you have to spend more than 1 minute on your picture, you haven't done it right. If you can't get it right in the first place, you will never get it right. As much as CMYK you push, it is not going to work. Is get it right. Don't push it. Don't push it. 1 minute max.
And do you
Yeah.
think, like, I feel like because maybe some emerging photographers might feel this pressure that I will tell you, do you think that the rise of, let's say, ultra curated tones for social media, now with these colors that need to make everything appear so perfect, might has heightened the risk of like this kind of post production in editings or in the views of emerging photographers? Because we always see such a
Mm,
perfect world on social
mm,
media. Everything is
right.
not
Right.
gritty, not raw, manipulated, if you can let me say that
Right.
or pass this
Mhm.
term.
It's a tricky one, but I feel the viewer has the right to know whether, let's say, if he's reading a novel, whether he's reading a fact or a fiction. So,
Mm,
similarly, in a photograph, if it's as true as it is possible, there will be a certain audience who are looking for facts. And then there's also another audience. I'm not saying right audience or the wrong audience, who are enjoying the fiction also. Photograph, I would say, end of the day, it is basically what appeals you and what you take away from the picture. If you just look at the picture and say, "Ah, it's a good picture," but some pictures stay with you more than that you keep going back to. It could be fiction for some. For me, it's right or wrong. I would leave it for people to decide. For me, as close to reality, in fact, whatever is reality, if there is, let's say, I've created a beautiful picture and on the street there is a white paper, I would never take it out because it's there. It's part of the scene. And if somebody wants to take it out, it's him. Maybe he's trying to create fine art. So there is a difference between fine art photography and street photography. We street photographers we're looking for that imperfections. We're looking for that because if it's perfect, then it's something else. Nothing in nature is perfect. Look at the trees. Look at the veins in our body, the arteries. There, nothing is perfect, and that's the beauty.
yes,
I was just about to say that whenever I love this quote by Dali, that never fear for perfections because you'll never reach it anyways. So I don't
exactly.
fear for perfection. There's no perfection in life.
Makes so much sense. And I wanted exactly to follow up on this and wanted to ask you, because this is also a kind of a hot topic in street photography.
Hmm.
What are your thoughts on cropping in street photography? Because there are photographers I've been talking to in the past year, interviewing them. For some, cropping is also a stylistic choice. For others, instead, it's a big no. We do not
Mm,
crop anything. I need to see what's in the viewfinder, needs to be the
mm,
same. And
mm.
what do you think about it? Connection to what
Okay.
also you said.
So when I started, for me, 10 to 15% cropping was fine.
Mhm.
Then after 10, 15 years, only 2 to 3% was okay. Now when I feel if there is little straightening that is needed, I'll probably do it. But at the same time, if I feel that there is an area that need to crop out and which is not more than 5%, I would do it. And coming back to whatever I see in the viewfinder, I'm going to take a picture of that. When you're shooting with the rangefinder, you always see a little more than what you're getting. So it's sometimes they're happy surprises in the frame also. As long as you don't manipulate in what you saw after the picture, it's fine. And above, to somebody who's starting out, don't take it more than 10%.
Mm,
Somebody who's already shooting for maybe, let's say, 4 5 years, don't go beyond 5%. It's because whenever you feel that you need to crop it later, just take another step and go in. It is more than 5%.
okay. That's great advice. Actually, that's a very great advice. I would like to switch gears a little bit
Mm-hmm.
and dive more again into your career of street photographer because you've been doing,
Mm-hmm.
you're a mentor, you've been doing workshop, you've done
Mm-hmm.
books, you've done also zines, you've done talks, you've done different, you've taken different roads in that sense. And my next question would be, can a photographer realistically today live off his own street photography without maybe diluting its personal work in general? Like,
Mm-hmm.
is it possible to make a living today
All
of
right.
street photography?
Interesting. So, street photography on its own, I would say, is just learning a craft. It's like writing notes to yourself. Can you make novel out of it? If you start making novel out of it, you can make it. But if you
Mm,
keep writing notes to yourself, they're just going to be notes to yourself. If you, let's say, if you're writing beautiful notes to yourself, can you make poems out of it? Yes, you can make poems out of it. But if you don't work on making poems out of it, nothing is going to happen. This is something like, let's say, I get this. This is a very strange thing, and people need to hear this. Some of the people, I get a lot of new photographers, they're saying that we've been trying to take pictures, we've been really trying to succeed, but we are not able to succeed. And when I ask them, how long have you been shooting? And they say, we've been shooting for 8 months. It just breaks my heart. I feel for any craft, if you need to succeed, then you need to at least give it 5 years. What we are doing, we want results instantly because we want
Yeah.
instant recognition. We feel that the picture we've taken, I would not say yesterday, the picture we've taken tomorrow has to be on the cover of any big magazine. So that is where the problem starts creeping in.
We also
We
live in
we
such a fast-paced society
correct.
as well.
We photographers, if we start looking for results from the very first day, it is not going to happen. Remember, when we go to school, we're not thinking that we're going to make money in some profession one day. We're just learning the craft. We're learning the craft. So learn the craft for some time and then ask me, can you make a living out of street photography? Yes, you can. There are various different ways you can apply your street photography. You can be an art director if you're a good street photographer. You can be a good candid wedding photographer if you're a street photographer. You can be a happy person in life if you're a street photographer. So there are various ways, there are various interpretations that you can do as a street photographer. I feel when I started doing street photography, I never thought that I'm going to make a living out of it. And this is what I want to tell people also. If you have a parallel job, don't go and leave the job suddenly. Take out, if you're working for 8 hours, then make about 2-3 hours every day to make pictures. So that will land you in a better position, that you can decide whether you want to leave the job or you want to leave photography. Photography, take it as a passion. The day you will start breathing it, it'll get you money.
Perfect. If you were starting from zero today,
Mhm.
what advice would you like to hear and why?
I would say I would relive what I've done. I think every mistake that I did in life made me learn something.
Fair.
So I would
Absolutely.
want to commit those mistakes.
Okay, that's so interesting. Absolutely. It truly is an answer that
Mm.
comes from you. Like, I can definitely see it. Then my next question would actually be something a little different because you've been working, still staying on the sphere of working with street photography, you make of living with street photography in that sense. But something that it's never really talked about, it's collaborations with brands or other type of works that can dilute
Mm.
in a way photography. So my next question would be, because you're a Leica ambassador, and I want to start immediately from that. What does it mean to you to be a Leica ambassador? Is it more of a responsibility? Like, does it put pressure, or is more of a privilege in that sense? If we can call it a privilege, I'm not sure.
I feel it's a mixture of everything that you said. But I feel as a photographer, the minute you pick up the camera, you are responsible for certain things. What we show to the world is not what they want to see. It's what we see. And right now I'm going to make a statement that we don't take pictures of people. We are actually taking pictures of ourselves. So
Mm,
there is a huge responsibility. There's a huge responsibility on what we are showing. So being an ambassador, it's an absolute honor. Very humbled to be there. But when you start, you don't think that you are going to be an ambassador. It helps me financially also. But when there is financial involvement and when there is a lot of, I would say, responsibility involved, then you tend to try and excel also, and you want to. So it's been such a wonderful journey being with certain brands, and I would say Leica is probably my last brand, I would say, because you don't, where do you go after this? And I don't want to, because they put me in such
sure.
a comfortable space in my, because I don't want to feel the need, because I feel this tool is an extension of me. And it's not,
Okay.
a lot of people say that it's just because there's a certain brand you are trying to be in. I feel any tool, pick up any tool. Typewriters don't write story on their own. When you have the right tool, when you have the right tool in your hand, then it becomes an extension of you. And in a given situation, especially for a street photographer, if you can't react quickly, there are only three decisions a photographer has to make, right? Aperture, shutter speed, and the ISO, the light. And if you can make it quickly on a tool, then that tool belongs to you. And I'm privileged that I think I could use that tool over the years. And it's not that I had the tool that made me an ambassador. It's also the pictures that you keep working for so many years. It's a different kind of probably the images that you're trying to show the world. Anybody can be. Keep working hard. And I would really say that if you start feeling comfortable at one place, then you're just going down. You're not going up.
That's also something I would like to follow up because
Mhm.
with Leica, there's the so-called Leica look in a
Mhm.
way, right? The mix of micro contrast, depth, emotional
Mhm.
resonance, and stuff. Do you think it's still a signature of course, of the brand, of the people that use these tools, or just like a myth of belonging, let's say?
I would say the Leica look is bald head and good beard. That's the Leica look. It's it's not about
Yeah.
It's when a lot of people think that the camera is you're going to create magic. It's a sort of marriage. You can't if
Yeah.
somebody is really into the scene. I feel that tool is going to become secondary. Your vision is first, tool comes second. And if you ask
Exactly.
me whether I have to pick up the tool or whether I'll pick up the vision, I'll pick up vision hands down any day. It's not
Exactly.
that something, but I'm very proud of it. And why shouldn't I
Yeah.
be? There's have you heard about this famous actor called Shah Rukh Khan? The Shah Rukh
No.
Khan is a Bollywood actor, millions and millions of
Okay.
followers. I heard his interview quite a few days back, and he said, so somebody asked him that you're really losing your private and personal life, because wherever you go, there are so many people just pounding over you and pouncing over you. Where do you have time for yourself? Don't you miss your life, which you always used to have, which was, without these fans and everything? He said, listen, I worked hard for it. I'm enjoying this. So similarly, I've worked hard to really earn a Leica. I've earned a Leica, I would say. And I think
Yeah.
it's just a sort of marriage between both of us.
Okay. Very, very interesting. You've also been working with other different brands as well. Have you ever turned down a collaboration for ethical reasons?
So there has been a liquor brand which was really after my life for 2 months, and they wanted to do a whiskey ad,
Mm.
and I really turned it down because I would not have my son look at that ad and feel proud of me. That's the basic ethic. I'm not against anybody who has a drink. It's not that I haven't had a drink. It's just
Sure.
that I don't want to promote it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because sometimes people feel like they tend to, let's say, sell themselves whatever it is just to get the recognition. Hot topic questions I wanted to ask you is street photography is I believe, is one of the most misunderstood genre of contemporary photography or of our time in that sense. What do you think is the biggest misconception about the genre today?
I feel just calling it street photography is misconception. If it was, just call it straight photography, it's just straight. It's just how you see the world. Just putting it in a different category. Feel we photographers, we try to me at least. I feel I don't like to be put in a particular genre. I mean, if that's
Mhm.
my maximum work is street. But if my wife tells me to take a picture, I certainly become a portrait photographer. I would say I'm a painter, like I said, but my paintings are always street heavy. So that is, I would say, classify as a street photographer. Misunderstood language, I feel we photographers are a lot responsible for that.
Hmm.
We should not be calling anything and everything street photography, but because nowadays I feel that a lot of photographers they feel that when we're talking about voice, they've literally started making their voice as photography, whereas a photographer's voice is his photographs. Not when he doesn't have to write sunrise with a sun picture to make people understand it's a sunrise. People should have the ability to make their subjective interpretation. And for me, when people derive story from a picture, that is what street photography is. A photographer's job lasts till the time he's taken the picture. After that, it belongs to the viewer. Then viewer has all the right to understand it the way they want. But just by saying that this is street photography, just screaming out loud that this is street photography, I think when it's street, everybody will know it's street. You don't have to really claim
Exactly.
that it's street photography.
Exactly, because sometimes people feel like the difference, for instance, between street photography and documentary photography,
Correct.
it's
That's the
in the documenting things. But street
right.
photography also documents at the
All
same
right.
time.
Let me just clear this forever. My school of thought. Whereas documentary always has a sense of objective or a goal behind the series or a picture, street photograph is subjective. So it's basically the difference between objective and subjective. When you have subjective, when somebody makes or kind of derives joy looking at the picture, and at the same time somebody could be angry looking at that picture, that's the beauty of street picture.
Yeah.
Somebody, they could be ironical, it could be humorous, it could be just temporary. I'd say that street photography is just, it's a temporary arrangement of lines, forms, texture, tones, emotions, people, scenery, environment. But simply put, street, for me, if I could replace the word with street, it has to be temporary. That's it.
Hmm.
And
Okay.
also, when two friends go out on the street and they can't make the same picture, it's street, even if they're
Yes,
standing at the same place.
I like that. I think that really summarizes perfectly
Yeah.
the idea. So thank you for that. Another
Mhm.
topic that you were mentioning a little bit beforehand, it's photographing without consent. Let's say
Mm,
not without
mm,
consent. Is it still in street photography something you need to capture the moment right away?
correct.
Can it really stop? Or I mean, you can direct your subject. Now I'm saying something a little bit bold,
No,
as
you
a bold
can't.
statement. You
No,
can't.
you can't.
Exactly. Is it ethically defensible shooting stranger without their consent, or is it a privilege of the past in today's time? Like I'm
Mm,
framing it in today's
mm,
time with privacy
mm,
issues,
right.
children, countries having different laws as well, because in the US, for instance, they're much more freer compared to Europe. I'm not sure about India. What are your thoughts?
Okay, so like you said, laws, I'll start with the laws. I would actually start with the ethics. Ethics are something that photographers decide, not what the audience decides, or not what the situation commands. If you go to a scene and you feel that you're not showing anybody in some kind of disrespectful position, it's fine. If you're not trying to make a joke out of them, it should be okay. If you are just being honest on what you are witnessing, I would say that don't be a judge of the moment, be a witness. As long as you're a witness, it's ethical. But the minute you start being judgmental, then it changes, then it alters. Back to the laws, every country has different laws. And in India, by law, if it's a public space, everything is, you can take pictures. It's a public space. There is
Okay.
no such law. Coming back to another very, very crucial thing that you spoke about, kids, Europe is a big no. If
Yeah,
as a photographer, as an Indian photographer, I go to Europe, I have to know the laws of the state before I enter the country, that whether it is
absolutely.
allowed or it is not allowed. If I'm being ignorant and try to feel and still take pictures of kids and behave that as if I don't know, then it is beyond my ethics. Then it is wrong ethics. In India, however, at the same time, if you take a picture of a kid and the mother notices it, she will go inside the home and bring her next child or the second child and say that take a picture of him also. So that's the beauty of the country I'm living in. And I'm so
Yeah.
proud of it.
I love that. Exactly. And it's different ways of living life. And I totally
Yeah.
agree. Like the most important thing all the time, for me at least, it's being conscious and aware of where you
Oh,
go,
yes.
of the people you're meeting. And that's all. Then you can do whatever you want to in that sense.
Okay. If
So,
I can reframe it, I would say ethics are basically a reflection of a photographer. If you feel that
exactly.
it can reflect on you, take a picture. And if you're
Absolutely.
not conscious about it, don't take it. Always remember that these are the streets where your families also walk. These are the
Exactly.
streets your mother would walk, your wife would walk, your sister would, father, kids. It's as simple as that. Would you be okay if they were shot in a certain way? Yeah.
Absolutely agree. Still staying on the topic of consent or maybe like more like internet
Mhm.
and today's time, do you think social media has been lately rewarded style more over some substance, or has it simply, let's say, changed the definition of substance? How much honesty in spontaneous photography is being today sacrificed? Yes, let's say sacrificed for conventional beauty on the internet.
Okay. Okay. So aesthetics over something that will be widely or vastly followed by people or acceptance by people. Okay. There are two types of photographers. One are consumers,
Mm,
which will get consumed by what their audience want, and they will keep giving them what they want. And one are the revolutionary ones who will, they are the providers. They will give them what they feel is right, and then that is how the voice develops. And this is what we tend to notice also with the trends, that there's similar kind of pictures that keep coming, because it, there is no harm in imitating once you're starting out, because that's how you learn from good pictures where to stand, and if you were standing in a certain way, how you could add on. But once you've crossed that process, then your personal rendering is very important, and if you fail to put that rendering, that is where you start suffering. And I feel a lot of photographers who want to be, and this is an advice, this is a very advice to my fellow photographers, that it's okay to imitate once you're starting out. But at the same time, try inventing and reinventing yourself. And there is nothing like that you would go wrong. It's just that, few likes, not going to take you anywhere. You'll still be there. You have another day to post another picture. It's not something which should really tell you whether your photograph was good or not. Social media is not the right place to tell you whether your picture was good or not. But people, you should always see, if they're 5 likes, let's say 5 likes, you have to see who all liked, whether that opinion matters to you or not, rather
mm,
than, if you have 20,000 likes and you feel that out of these 20,000, 19,000 didn't even understand the picture, but it's just that they like you.
and that's it. Yeah.
And that's it.
Exactly. I feel like you experience both. You have
Yeah.
this very huge following as well. So there's nobody more, let's say, authoritative than you know, in this.
I'm totally blessed. I'm, for a street photographer to get such a big audience, I'm totally blessed, and I'm thankful to each one of the person who at some point liked some picture of mine.
Yeah,
So I'm I'm not thinking that I'm creating work for a particular audience.
sure.
I'm just creating work. And
And that's
whether
it.
it reaches any audience, good audience, any audience, it works for
Great, great.
me.
And what do you wish more photographers today would
Mm.
stop chasing? And what would you wish they would start paying more attention to in their craft? Because you've seen so many people, you've met so many people, you've taught so many people. What is your experience regarding this? What they should stop chasing?
I would say chasing perfection is a problem. Don't chase perfection. I would say don't chase for the last destination. Enjoy the journey. A lot
Okay.
of time photographers, when they pick up the camera, and I'm not talking about everybody. Everybody has a different path, a different route, different journeys. Also enjoy the journey. Every picture, enjoy the journey. The picture that you took 4 years ago, don't look at it and say that, oh, this was crap. Well, it was still you. It's a part of you. It's just that you have to understand what got you here now. So chasing, I would say, in fact, let me twist it. I would say chase your dreams rather than not chasing anything. Chase your
Yeah.
dream. Look for a picture. Always be looking hungry. I would say never be satisfied with the frame that you get. Keep looking for the things that you could improve on,
Yeah.
rather than feeling that this is okay. Today I got the best picture. Well, it is technically the best picture, but you're forgetting the word today.
You've been doing, as we've been saying also so many times lately in this interview, you've been doing talks, you've been doing mentorship workshop for quite a long time. So my next question would be, what role do you think education can play in the growth, mentorship, in that sense, in the growth of the future of the genre itself? Because I feel like I mean, it's always, I'm not trying to disregard any aspect
Mm,
or any type of
mm.
photographers. Self-taught photographers also have, of course, a very tough journey to go through. But what do you think, what role do you think education and mentorship plays in the future of the genre, coming from a mentor himself like you?
Firstly, a lot of people feel that a job of a mentor is finding your faults, critiquing
Mm,
you, finding something new in you. But I feel the work of a mentor is finding your strengths. So what I tend to do is, and what I and how I like to work with my fellow photographers, I don't call them students, because if there are 100 of students, I think I'm the one who's learning from them, because I'm the only one and there are 100 to give me something rather than me giving it to them. So
yeah,
it's always, I tend to find their strengths and I tell them to kind of move in a certain direction. Mentorship is very, very important. And it is not necessary that a photographer's mentor has to be a photographer. It could be as simple as somebody who could guide them, show them the path. But at the same time, certain images that which they don't know that they could work or could not work, for that purpose they would need a mentor. For that, for them to know whether there's a, a lot of times I've seen some people when they're editing the shots, out of 10 shot, if they have to pick up one, the 70% will pick up a wrong one. And when you ask them, why didn't you pick the other one? It's just that they don't understand that the other image tends to work a little better, just for the simple fact because they don't have, I would say, that exposure towards that knowledge. It's just that I was having this conversation with somebody and they were like, if a child is just throwing ink on a canvas. And if there's somebody who's doing abstract art, which is very similar to that, and if you show it to a critique, would he be able to identify which is from a kid and which is from a, and without having the burden of the name? And this, I think there's a video on the YouTube also. I'm missing that, uh, where 10 out of 10 times he picked up the right one, and he said this is fine arts. To understand what works, you
mm,
need a guide. You definitely need somebody to show you light, and there's nothing wrong. Self-taught, I would like to call myself self-taught photographer, but I had a mentor who was a sculptor, so he
exactly.
showed me. Mentor is somebody who will show you the way of life. Photography will happen when you start seeing things differently. It's just
Yeah.
that how somebody helps you understand and see things differently. That's what photography is.
Perfect. Perfect. You often emphasize, not just in this interview, but also with me, we've been talking about this as well in other settings. You often emphasize knowing why in photography. So after all this year, why do you keep photographing?
Why do I keep following? Because I feel this is the only language I know. This is the only way I know how to express myself. This is how I like to communicate with. I don't know how to write beautiful words. I don't know how to perform, let's say, cultural arts or maybe musician. I don't know it. I find them so tough. And I feel even if I knew right now, the way I express or see the world or show my world, photography is something. That is why I take pictures.
Okay, love that. And when people say that's a Vineet Vohra's picture, what do you hope they are recognizing in your photography?
That's the toughest. I've never been able to answer. Well, it's, I feel every photographer on this earth want that when somebody looks at the picture and they can say that this is your picture or XYZ, anybody's, hypothetically anybody's picture. When I was creating art or when I am creating art, I don't keep that burden in my mind. I feel that's the beauty. And for that, if somebody wants to develop a vision or somebody wants to create, a strength, or let's say when somebody looks at the picture and they get the easiest way is that a lot of photographers they forget that they are picking up multiple focal lengths while they're taking pictures. Stick to one focal length and make it your. It could be 28, it could be 35, 24. I mean, whatever your vision is, don't keep switching. And I
Okay.
feel that from 3 decades, if I'm using that 28 mm, it's tend to show people that this is how I see the world. Whereas what I take and how I take pictures, it's become my second nature. It's just that people are, if I'm talking to you for so long, you know that this is the pitch of my voice, and I'm not raising it. And when I raise it, you will feel that what is happening to his voice. Similarly, in photographs, when you maintain that kind of level in your photos, that becomes your voice.
Okay. Vineet, thank you so much for this first part of the interview. I hope
Thank
you
you.
felt comfortable. It went
Absolutely.
by so fast, honestly. I didn't even notice that we're already done. But again, thank you so much, and we'll see everybody in part two.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, so welcome back again to everybody to the second part of this interview, the unfiltered part, which is the more lighthearted, fun part of what we do usually. So, Binit, we'll start already with the rapid fire questions. I'll
Mhm.
ask you different questions, and whatever comes to your mind, please shoot
Okay.
whatever it
Okay.
is.
You're scaring me. You're scaring me, but I'm just gonna speak my heart out. Let's see.
Okay, so 3 words to describe yourself.
I would say painter, seeker, and curious.
Okay. If you weren't a photographer, what would you be?
Oh, that's tricky. I would be playing snooker somewhere in the world for sure. That's my sports.
I like that. Interesting. The strangest place you've been photographing, you have photographed in.
Okay, the strangest place. Well, it's not. It could be strange experiences, not
Yeah.
strangest place.
Yeah.
Well, there was this place. There was this time during Mahakumbh, which I was shooting, and there's something called Atma Samadhi, which is like where people just, I would not say it's a suicide, but where people kind of just take away their own lives just sitting. I was shooting and this guy did that. It was one of the strangest experience and it was very overwhelming. I
Yeah.
froze. I froze literally. So that was strange.
I can imagine. 3 iconic photographers who have inspired you.
I would say Alex Webb, Bresson. I would really have to think. If you would have asked me painters, I would have answered straight away. Well, at the same time, it is not a single photographer who hasn't inspired.
Sure.
I would say Kudelka, though I
Mm,
don't create work like him, but I really like something about
sure.
his work. But at the same time, if you'll ask me three painters, I would say Renoir, Degas, and Dali. And I would say
Interesting.
Marguerite also. So more of
For its
surrealism,
I like that. I feel like photography and painting is something that truly connects with each other.
100%.
Absolutely. So
100%.
much. Then I will ask you, rank in order of importance these 3 aspects of a photograph. So light, composition, and subject for you.
Composition, composition, composition.
Aha, so no light, no subject. I like that.
Well,
I like that.
when you see light is something which you can't make a picture without that.
Yeah. Fair. Fair.
Subject, if there is no subject, how are you going to compose? So I would say they will always be there when you
Yeah.
when you make the right, I would say make the right composition of whatever is available to you.
Okay.
Sometimes you
Okay.
will go out on the streets, finding a subject could be tricky, but
Fair.
if you get into the zone, compose a scene, you will always take back something to learn from.
Okay. What's the best advice you've ever received and the worst advice you've ever received?
Okay. Best advice is shoot daily, and which I follow till date. And this is almost uh, now more than 3 decades that I got this advice. And when I was trying to be a photographer in my mind, before we actually become photographers, we are photographers in our mind. And we feel that, oh,
Mm-hmm.
yes, I know how to take pictures. But to, to succeed, I think this is the first advice I'll give to anybody to shoot daily, be it half an hour, be it 10 minutes, be it 1 hour. Just enjoy the process. Just be with the tool. get to know each other a little better, spend some
Yeah.
time. And the worst advice is, I don't know. I mean, I've always utilized all the advices wisely. It's what you make out of the advice. But worst advice is that you can still pick up some other genre. And if I would have,
Okay.
if I, and this was when I was moving from wildlife to, I did fashion photography for 2 months. And so I think
No way.
that was a little weird advice that I got. Yeah,
I didn't know that. That's interesting. The most important lesson you've learned about street photography in your
life,
career.
life. It's the
Perfect.
teaches you how to be more compassionate. It teaches, if I can see it in one word, it teaches you to be more humane. That's it.
Absolutely. Absolutely agree. If you could photograph any historical era without no limitation of time going backwards, what would you photograph?
I would I would take a day in the life of Salvador Dali. I would shoot that.
Interesting. Oh, that I think that would be such a great series as well.
Yeah.
Wow. Would be so interesting. Very last question for this rapid fire
Mhm.
game. What do you believe in?
What do I believe in? I believe in not hurting anybody's heart. That is what I believe. I believe that that is something which I live by. I swear by. It's basically uh, it's there's a quote. I'm going to say it in. It's a Punjabi quote. I will still say it. Maybe people do.
Yeah,
Somebody,
absolutely.
you can break mosques, you can break temples, but don't break anybody's heart because my God resides in that heart. So
Wow.
that is what I live by.
Thank you. I love that. I think we beautifully ended this rapid fire question. Then we have this game of this or that, of the icon clash that I was explaining a bit before. So this is the this or that game. So I'll give you a couple of names and then you will have to pick and choose between one or the other. And then,
You're putting me in a spot.
yes, now I'll put you under the light. So, Bresson or Kudelka?
Kudelka,
Kudelka or Raghuveer Singh?
Raghuveer Singh,
Okay, Raghuveer Singh or Elliot Erwitt?
Raghuveer Singh,
Raghuveer Singh or Diane Arbus?
Raghuveer Singh. I would
Okay,
still
I
stick
think
to him. You
to
have to
them.
find a big name. I don't know if you can read my mind, but you need a better name. I mean, I'm not saying better name. I would say literally a good fight with Raghuveer Singh, a
Okay,
conflict.
Raghuveer Singh or Lee Friedlander?
I would still say Raghuveer Singh. I'm going to give
Mm.
you a hint. You have to find a painter. Otherwise, I'm not changing. I love Raghuveer Singh a lot.
No, then it's impossible for me. Damn
It's a
it.
tricky one, but all the
It
names, I feel, with all the respect, I've learned something from all of
sure,
them. It's just that you
absolutely.
you like to put your guest into a tricky spot, which you should not be doing. But yeah, I think
It's just for the fun, right? Just to
yeah, it
have a
is.
little bit more lighter one.
Yeah,
Last one, Raghuveer Singh or Alex Webb?
I would say Raghuveer Webb, a mixture of both. Well,
A
it's
mixture of
it's
both.
a
Well,
it's
then
it's a
I'll
tricky
take
thing.
it. I'll take
It's a tricky thing. I've learned light from both of them. I've learned compositions from both of them. I've
that.
learned just the way of seeing things, and I'm a little biased toward my Indian photographer. A little biased.
Of
So
course, it's totally
I'm
fair.
Raghuveer.
Yeah, and he was a master of color. Like I think it was really
Orange
beautiful,
Ambassador
beautiful.
car. I mean, the minute you say it, it's just there in front of
Exactly.
me.
It's definitely there.
Not that Alex Webb's football is not there. It is still there, but
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. Totally agree. Binet, thank you so much once again
Thank you.
for being
Thank
with
you
us.
so
It
much. Thank
was
you so much for
so
giving me
lovely.
this opportunity. And I hope, I mean, everything came from the heart. And if I said something,
Absolutely.
please forgive me.
Oh, absolutely not. You're always so wholesome for me. So I always enjoy talking to you. And again,
Thank you.
just a small message to all of our viewers, keep liking, keep subscribing, and keep commenting. Because again, what's just a small click to you, it means the world for us to support independent publishing and independent street photography. Binet, thank you again
Thank you.
and talk to you soon.
Guys, I don't know if you've heard me enough, but please pay attention to what she said. follow, like, comment, subscribe. And also, big thank you to Marco, who's behind the scenes and very instrumental in this talk. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.